Nicolae Ceaușescu. At the height of his seemingly unshakable power, he was not content merely to rule Romania. He aspired to create a dynasty. His three children, Valentin, Zoia, and Nicu, grew up protected in palaces, living symbols of an empire built on propaganda and fear. While millions of Romanians faced hunger, rationing, and violence, they lived in luxury, but carried a dark burden. Stay with me until the end, because I'll reveal what happened to these golden children after the bloody collapse of 1989. You'll discover the fate of each of Ceaușescu's children, and what Zoia and Nicu went through will shock you. Before we begin, we're working toward a goal of 1 million subscribers. It may seem like a lot, but with your help, we'll get there. Subscribe now, leave a like, and become part of this story. Nicolae Ceaușescu took control of Romania in 1965, succeeding Gheorghe Gheorghiu Dej, who had led the country under the Soviet Union's strict influence since the end of the Second World War. Although Ceaușescu presented himself as a reformer and a nationalist, promising greater autonomy for Romania, his rule soon became one of the most repressive in Eastern Europe, marked by a personality cult and economic decline. From the outset, Ceaușescu did not rule alone. At his side was his wife, Elena Ceaușescu, who played a crucial role in consolidating the regime. Married in 1946, they remained together until their tragic end in 1989 during the Romanian Revolution. Elena's influence grew steadily, transforming her from a minor figure into one of the most powerful women in the communist regime. She was promoted as a renowned intellectual and scientist, even though her credentials were largely fabricated by the state apparatus. In the early years of his rule, Ceaușescu adopted a stance that set him apart from the other leaders of the Soviet bloc. In 1968, he refused to support the Warsaw Pact invasion of Czechoslovakia, earning him considerable international prestige and praise from several Western leaders. He also sought to drive Romania's economic growth through heavy investment in industry and unsuccessful infrastructure projects. To finance this expansion, he turned to foreign loans. At first, they created a sense of progress, but over time, they led to a devastating financial crisis. The rule of the Ceaușescu couple was marked by growing repression of every form of dissent. Elena, who held several senior positions, including that of Deputy Prime Minister, played an active role in the regime's radicalization. Her involvement was crucial to strengthening the secret police, the Securitate, which monitored, intimidated, and eliminated opponents. Under the couple's rule, the Romanian population was subjected to severe shortages of essential goods, extreme rationing, and absolute control over daily life, while the regime's elite enjoyed privileges and luxuries beyond the reach of ordinary people. Beyond their political careers, the personal lives of Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu also attracted intense public attention. The couple had three children, Valentin, Zoia, and Nicu, all born before Nicolae's rise to power. Their lives, however, were profoundly shaped by the events that transformed Romania under their father's rule. Let us take a closer look at each of them and at how their fates became intertwined with some of the most turbulent moments in Romanian history. Prepare yourself, because what happened to Nicu, the couple's youngest child, is both astonishing and frightening. Before that, however, let us turn to Valentin, the eldest. Valentin Ceaușescu, the firstborn son of Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu, was born in Bucharest on the 17th of February 1947, during a period of intense political change in Romania. At the time, his father had not yet reached the highest levels of power, but he already held an important position as Minister of Agriculture, consolidating his influence within the Communist Party. Unlike Nicolae and Elena, who devoted themselves entirely to governing and building an authoritarian regime, Valentin chose a path far removed from politics, dedicating himself to science and academic research. From an early age, he showed a talent for his studies, standing out at the Dr. Petru Groza School, one of the most respected schools in the country. In 1965, he enrolled in the Faculty of Physics at the University of Bucharest, beginning his career in the scientific world. Seeking to further his education, he moved to the United Kingdom in 1967 to study at the prestigious Imperial College London. During his years in London, he not only deepened his knowledge of physics, but also became involved in sports, even playing goalkeeper for a university team. In 1970, Valentin Ceaușescu returned to Romania after completing his studies and began working as a physicist, leading a quiet life away from the spotlight surrounding his family. That same year, he married Iordana Dana Borila, the daughter of Petre Borila, a leading member of the Romanian Communist Party. Neither family welcomed the marriage, especially Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu, who had political differences with Borila. This created tension between the two families, and their divisions deepened over the years. The marriage ended in 1988, shortly before the collapse of the communist regime. Their son, Daniel Ceaușescu, shared his father's interest in science and also became a physicist. After the revolution that overthrew Nicolae Ceaușescu's government, Dana and Daniel emigrated to Israel and later settled in the United States. When the Romanian Revolution erupted in December 1989, Valentin Ceaușescu was detained along with other members of the Ceaușescu family. While his parents were subjected to a summary trial and subsequently executed, he remained imprisoned for 9 months without any formal charge. During that time, he lost his extensive art collection, which included approximately 50 paintings by renowned Romanian artists, rare prints by Francisco Goya, and a valuable library containing hundreds of historical books. The government confiscated the property, claiming it belonged to the state, and sent much of the artwork to the National Museum of Art. After years of legal battles, Valentin recovered some of the paintings in 2009, when the court ruled in his favor and ordered the return of 40 of them. Vowed to his release, Valentin avoided any involvement in politics and returned to his scientific career. He worked at the Horia Hulube National Institute of Physics and Nuclear Engineering in Magurele, where he devoted himself to nuclear physics research. Staying out of the spotlight, he chose a private life focused exclusively on his work. In 1995, he married again, this time to Roxana Duna, with whom he had a daughter, Alexandra, who pursued a career in architecture. In 2016, Valentin retired on a modest pension. Unlike his parents and siblings, he built a life defined by discretion and distance from politics. Today, he lives quietly on a property belonging to his wife's family, avoiding any public exposure. In this way, Valentin Ceaușescu became a unique figure in the history of the family, a man who, despite his surname, chose a path with no ambitions for power. But what about the Ceaușescu's other children? Are they still alive? Stay with us, because this story is far from over. Before we continue, leave a comment saying, "I want more stories." That encourages us to keep producing content and helps the channel reach a wider audience. Don't forget to subscribe, enable notifications, and like the video. That way, you won't miss any updates and will also receive recommendations for similar videos. Done all that? Then, with those announcements out of the way, let's return to the story. Zoia Ceaușescu, the second child and daughter of Nicolae and Elena Ceaușescu, was born on February 28, 1949, as her family was beginning to consolidate its influence within the Romanian Communist Party. From childhood, she stood out as an exceptional student, displaying a remarkable aptitude for numbers and a keen interest in mathematics. It was a path that set her apart from both her parents and the political world around her. As a young woman, she attended secondary school number 24 in Bucharest, later renamed Jean Monnet Secondary School. She graduated in 1966 and entered the University of Bucharest's Faculty of Mathematics that same year. Her academic talent did not go unnoticed, and she became one of the faculty's most promising students. In 1977, she earned her doctorate with an innovative thesis entitled On Intertwining Dilations, supervised by the renowned mathematician Cyprian Foiaș. Her field, functional analysis, was a highly abstract and complex branch of mathematics concerned with vector spaces and their theoretical and practical applications. Zoia Ceaușescu began her career as a researcher at the Institute of Mathematics of the Romanian Academy in 1974. However, her desire to pursue a purely scientific career was not well received by her parents, who expected their children to play more strategic roles within the regime. As a result of this dissatisfaction, combined with Nicolae Ceaușescu's authoritarian view of academic institutions, the institute was dissolved in 1975. Zoia was then transferred to the Institute for Scientific and Technical Creation, known as INCREST, where she founded and led a new mathematics department. Despite these obstacles, her work was recognized, and in 1976 she received the prestigious Simeon Stoilo Prize, one of the most important distinctions in Romanian mathematics. Unlike her parents and her younger brother Nicu, Zoia never became directly involved in politics. Her focus remained on research and academic life, and she maintained a discreet profile despite being the daughter of the country's leader. In 1980, she married Mircea Oprian, an engineer and professor at the Polytechnic University of Bucharest. The couple led a private life, away from the regime's political events and the extravagance typical of its elite. The fall of Nicolae Ceaușescu's government at the end of 1989 drastically altered Zoia's life. During the Romanian Revolution, she was arrested alongside her brothers, Valentin and Nicu, on charges of undermining the national economy. Despite the seriousness of the accusations, there was no concrete evidence against her, and after 8 months in detention, she was released in August 1990. Freedom, however, did not bring the peace Zoia had hoped for. But before we examine the final years of Zoia's life, it is time to turn to Nicolae and Elena's youngest son, the controversial Nicu Ceaușescu. His life was very different from that of his siblings, and his path was marked by scandals and controversy. Prepare to discover the story of the heir many considered the dictator's successor. The story of Nicu Ceaușescu. Nicu Ceaușescu was born on the 1st of September 1951 and grew up as the youngest son of the couple who ruled Romania with an iron fist. Unlike his siblings, who pursued academic careers, Nicu was raised with the expectation that he would succeed his father, prepared from an early age to take control of the country. While the Romanian population faced shortages, food rationing, and a declining quality of life under the regime, he lived in ostentation, surrounded by luxury and excess. From his youth, Nicu showed little interest in his studies and displayed an irresponsible attitude, but that did not prevent him from advancing in his political career. After finishing high school at Lyceum No. 24, now called Jean Monnet, he enrolled at the University of Bucharest to study physics. His name, however, became prominent not in academia, but within the Communist Party. His involvement in the Union of Communist Youth brought him a rapid rise, and he eventually became the organization's first secretary. Over the years, he took on increasingly senior positions, being appointed Minister of Youth Affairs and later elected to the Central Committee of the Romanian Communist Party in 1982. His position within the government grew even stronger when he was appointed to lead Sibiu County, a clearly strategic move by his parents to consolidate him as the regime's political heir. Outside politics, Nicu Ceaușescu was known for his scandalous behavior. Surrounded by influential friends and controversial figures, he had relationships with celebrities, including gymnast Nadia Comăneci and soprano Daniela Vladescu. Yet his reputation was also marked by stories of abuse, alcoholism, and a life of excess. Ion Mihai Pacepa, a former Securitate officer who defected to the United States, reported that Nicu was protected by his father even in the face of serious crimes, including rapes and assaults. His destructive behavior knew no bounds, and reports indicate that he maintained a close relationship with Uday Hussein, the son of dictator Saddam Hussein. The two reportedly attended lavish parties together in places such as Monaco and Switzerland, where they gambled large sums of money. The collapse of the regime in December 1989 drastically changed his circumstances. On December 22nd, as the revolution unfolded and the government crumbled, Nicu Ceaușescu was captured by revolutionaries. His arrest was broadcast on state television, showing him handcuffed and visibly shaken. Accused of corruption, embezzling public funds, and even holding children hostage, he faced a highly politicized trial. Reports claim that before he was sentenced, he was tortured in prison and forced to watch footage of his parents' execution. The only one of the Romanian dictator's children to find relative peace and lead a quiet life was Valentin. After the revolution of 1989 and the months she spent in prison, Zoia struggled greatly to rebuild her life. Prevented from resuming her scientific career and deprived of much of her property, she and her husband, Mircea Oprian, spent years fighting the hostility of the new government and society. Her health began to deteriorate, aggravated by stress and compulsive smoking. In 2000, she was diagnosed with lung cancer, a disease that advanced rapidly and further weakened her already fragile condition. In her final years, Zoia withdrew from public life, avoiding public appearances and giving up her efforts to regain her place in academia. On November 20, 2006, she died at the age of 57. Her body was cremated at the Ceaușescu crematorium, an emblematic site in the Romanian capital. Thus ended the life of a woman who, despite her efforts to forge an independent path, never managed to escape her parents' legacy completely. The fate of his younger brother, Nicu Ceaușescu, was equally tragic. Sentenced to 20 years in prison for corruption and abuse of power, he served only 2 years before being released in 1992 on medical grounds, following the intervention of lawyer Paula Iacob. Life outside prison, however, brought no redemption. Without the privileges he had once enjoyed, Nicu sank even deeper into alcoholism, accelerating the progression of the liver cirrhosis that had already weakened his body. As his health reached a critical state, he was transferred in 1996 to a hospital in Vienna, Austria, where he received intensive treatment. His condition, however, was irreversible, and on the 25th of September that same year, he died at the age of 45. His body was repatriated to Romania and buried in Ghencea Cemetery, the same place where his parents were laid to rest. Nicu's story became a symbol of the downfall of Romania's communist elite. Raised to succeed an authoritarian regime, he never showed the preparation or ability to govern. His rise, which had once seemed inevitable, collapsed along with the system that sustained it, and his life ended as a reflection of his family's decline, marked by excess, decadence, and a fate sealed by the weight of a past he could never escape. So, what did you think of the video? Did you already know what became of the heirs of the Ceaușescu couple? Leave a comment. We want to hear your opinion. History is filled with events that drove technological progress, and few circumstances did so as intensely as war. The Second World War, for example, was a true laboratory for military innovation, bringing revolutionary weapons, tanks, and aircraft to the world. One of those impressive projects was the P-61 fighter, a machine that made all the difference in combat. Want to know more? We have an incredible video about its story, and it's already appearing on your screen. Click now to discover how innovative this aircraft was.